Hello students, I hope all of you are doing very well. Welcome to our YouTube channel Pratik Singh Classes. In this video, we are going to start CBSE Standard 10th Science Chapter 7 Control and Coordination. This is the first part of Chapter 7 and 32nd for CBSE Standard 10th Science. So let us start our today's video session. Okay, here we will study about how our brain takes control of our body, what are its functions. Then we will learn a lot about nervous system of our body. So let us begin. But before we start our today's chapter, let me request all of you to please subscribe my channel Pratik Singh Classes, hit the bell icon for all the videos and like and share it. Fine. So coming to control and coordination system, chapter 7. In the previous chapter, we looked at life processes involved in the maintenance function in living organisms. Okay, if you have remembered, in the previous chapters we have studied the life processes and how it affects us. Then how does it maintain the living organism, and a lot of other things we have studied. Then we had started with a notion we all have that if we see something moving, it is alive. Okay, so whatever thing around us is moving according to the concept of science, okay, it is living, but that doesn't mean it is a car is a living organism or a bike is a living organism. Okay, it depends on other life processes also. Means if it is moving and performs some life processes, that means the object is alive or the body is alive. Some of these movements are in fact the result of growth as in plants. So we know very well that we can grow, our height increases, our body grows, but as well plants also, but we can move from one place to the place, but plants can't. Okay, if you have to learn what is the movement in plants, okay, it is decided or defined by its growth. Okay, so growth is in actual the movement in plants. A seed germinates and grows, and we can see that the seedling moves over the course of a few days. It pushes soil aside and comes out. Okay, if you belong to a village or if you belong to a farming family, okay, you might have seen, or if you have eaten sprouts, you have seen that when the seeds germinates, okay, the roots comes out. Likewise, then the germinated seeds are sown in the field. Okay, the roots goes down and a new life comes out, which pushes the soil aside and comes out in the form of a small sapling. But if its growth were to be stopped, these movements would not happen. Means if suppose the growth stops, the movement in the plants and trees will not happen. Okay, that means the sapling which we want to grow in the farm, okay, will not show any kind of movement, whether horizontal or vertical. Some movements, as in many animals and some plants, are not connected with growth. Okay, so what does it mean? As given here, a cat running, children playing on swings, buffaloes chewing cud. These are not movements caused by growth. Okay, so these are the daily job which we do, which the animals or other organisms do. Why do we associate such visible movements with life? Okay, means whenever we say that something is moving, okay, that means it has life. Okay, here the question arises, why the movement is associated with life? Can't we say about anything that if it is not moving or at all, whether it has life or not? A possible answer is that we think of movement as a response to a change in the environment of the organism. Okay, organisms move because its surrounding changes, because its environment changes, and a lot of other things. The cat may be running because it has seen a mouse. Okay, so it is not a kind of movement, or it is not a kind of growth. Not only that, we also think of movement as an attempt by living organisms to use changes in their environment to their advantage. Okay, plants grow out into the sunshine. Okay, plants can't grow in dark places. Okay, or you might have done the activities in your previous classes that when we put a small plant in pot near the window, it because of reaction due to a stimuli, okay, it grows towards the place where sunlight is coming. Okay, children try to get pleasure and fun out of swinging. We all have enjoyed it in our childhood. Buffaloes chew cud to help break up tough food so as to be able to digest it better. And you know very well that cows and buffaloes, they first cud, then they save the food in their rumen. Okay, then again it comes to their mouths, they chew, and again they swallow, and a lot of other digestive things happens in the cows and buffaloes. Okay, their digestive system is totally different from us. Okay, when bright light is focused on our eyes or when we touch a hot object, we detect the change and respond to it with movement in order to protect ourselves. Okay, and this happens because of reaction due to a stimuli. Not only in us, in all the living organisms. Okay, there happens reaction due to a stimuli. Okay, if we think a bit more about this, it becomes apparent that all this movement in response to the environment is carefully controlled. Okay, so if you see all those things, that how a particular function happen or why does a particular function happen, okay, you will be surprised to know that everything is a response to the environment. Okay, everything happens because of a response or because of something changed happens around us. Okay, in the vicinity of us or in the environment around us. Each kind of change in the environment evokes an appropriate movement in response. When we want to talk to our friends in class, we whisper rather than shouting loudly. The teacher will punish severely in that situation if he or she is not in the mood. Clearly, the movement to be made depends on the event that is triggering it. Okay, therefore such control movement must be connected to the recognition of various events in the environment followed by only the correct movement in response. Okay, so these are called as control movements, okay, which is related to some special stimuli. In other words, living organisms must use systems providing control and coordination. Okay, means when we shake our hand or when we rub our hand, okay, when we feel cool, when we feel hot, we react on it. Okay, then we move from that place. A lot of changing happens in our body. We feel cold, we feel warm, we feel nervous, sometimes we feel feared, sometimes when we see something fearful. Okay, why all those things happen in our body? Okay, or there must be something which is controlling all these movements. In keeping with the general principles of body organization, in multicellular organisms like us, specialized tissue are used to provide these control and coordination activities. Okay, now this is just the preface of this chapter, that is control and coordination. Let us start with animals' nervous system. How do animals react, okay, or why do they react, okay, and the way they react, and a lot of other things we will see. Okay, and when we say animals, okay, that not only means animal but also us. We are also animal, we are also social animals. Fine. So section 7.1, animals nervous system. In animals, such control and coordination are provided by nervous and muscular tissues, which we have studied in the previous classes. Touching a hot object is an urgent and dangerous situation for us. Okay, it may burn us, okay, or it may be lethal if we touch something very hot. We need to detect it as soon as possible and respond against it. How do we detect that we are touching a hot object? Okay, so suppose unwillingly, or suppose if something hot is behind me and I, without watching it, I have put my hand over it, back to it, okay, back to me. Okay, I will detect that something hot is there. Okay, the question that is here is, how do we detect that something hot is there? All information from our environment is detected by the specialized tips of some nervous cells. Okay, so as you can see in this figure 7.1 A, B and C. Okay, so here this is the figure of nerves or nervous cells. As you can see here, nucleus, dendrite, axon, cell body, nerve ending. Okay, these axons, the nucleus, dendrites, these are all meant to transfer the information or transfer the signal from one place to the place, and the information is collected with the help of nerve ending, as is given here, detected by specialized tips of some nerve cells. All right, so let me clear it for you, for me also. Fine. These receptors are usually located in our sense organs such as the inner ear, the nose, the tongue, and so on. Okay, so these types of detections happens in our body with the help of our nose, our ears, our eyes, okay, and our skin. So gustatory receptors will detect taste, while olfactory receptors will detect smell. Okay, so here gustatory receptors are present in our tongues, and olfactory receptors are present in our nose, okay, which detects taste and smell simultaneously. This information acquired at the end of the dendrite tip of a nerve cell, okay, as given in figure 7.1a, okay, as given here in this figure. Set of chemical reaction that creates an electrical impulse. Okay, what really happens is whenever we detect something, okay, instantly a lot of chemical reactions happen and it gives some electrical impulse. Okay, this impulse travels from the dendrite to the cell body and then along the axon to its end. At the end of the axon, the electrical impulse set of the release of some chemicals. These chemicals cross the gap or synapse and start a similar electrical impulse in the dendrite of the next neuron. So what really happens here is whenever the nerve ends detect something new, okay, something dangerous, okay, some chemical reaction happens there, and those chemical reactions gives electrical impulse. Those electrical impulse moves through the cell, okay, to the dendrite, okay, and it goes to the other cell's dendrite, okay. In between two dendrites there are gap. There the electrical signal converts into chemical signal, and then chemical signal again converts to the electrical signal for the second dendrite, and so on. So far the signal goes up to the brain. This is a general scheme of how nervous impulse travel in a body. A similar synapse finally allows delivery of such impulses from neurons to other cells such as muscle cell or gland. Okay, so by each and every single cell, the message goes to the muscle and to the glands and to the other parts, and finally it goes to the backbone and the brain, where it is being filtered. The incoming message or the incoming impulse is being filtered, okay, and the brain takes care of what kind of reactions should be done, and then our body reacts according to the calculations done by our brain. It is thus no surprise that nervous tissue is made up of an organized network of nerve cells or neurons, and it is specialized for conducting information by electrical impulse from one part of the body to another part of the body. Okay, so here nerve cells, the only function of the nerve cell is to give signal from one place to other place, okay, and finally to make us react if it is something harmful for us. Look at figure 7.1a as given here, and identify the parts of neuron where information is acquired, through which information travels as an electrical impulse, and where the impulse must be converted into a chemical signal for outward transmission. So as you can see here, this is small hair like structure, those are nerve endings, and those here, as you can see here in this body, okay, as I move the cursor on the screen, okay, you can see here these hair thin structure, they collect the information, okay, then a lot of chemical reaction happens, and then those chemical reaction gives some electrical impulse, then it goes through the nerves, okay, the axon, then nerve ending, and at the nerve ending where the other cell joins, okay, there is synapse or a small gap. There the electrical signal coming from the first cell converts into the chemical signal, and again that chemical signal okay, is converted in the electrical signal for the second cell, and by thus transferring from one to the other, it goes to the uppermost part of the body or the brain. And also you will be interested to know, you will be surprised to know that nerve cells are the longest cells in our body. Okay, so now you have to do some activity. Put some sugar in your mouth. How does it taste? Okay, obviously it is sweet. Okay, block your nose by pressing it between your thumb and index finger. Okay, like this. Now eat sugar again. Is there any difference in its taste? Yes, it will be. You will be surprised to know that if we are not able to breathe, okay, we cannot feel the taste, or the taste will be very less. While eating lunch, okay, once again, now eat sugar again. Is there any difference in its taste? While eating lunch, block your nose in the same way and notice if you can fully appreciate the taste of the food you are eating. No, we cannot appreciate the taste, because without breathing, without oxygen to go inside, we cannot taste anything. Is there a difference in how sugar and food taste in your nose? If your nose is blocked, yes, we cannot taste it. If so, why might this be happening? Means why we are not able to taste these things? Read and talk about possible explanations of these kinds of differences. Do you come across a similar situation when you have cold? Okay, when we have cold and nose blocks, we are not able to taste the food in a good way or in a proper way. Okay, so why does that happen? We will study in the next video. Okay, so this video is just the introductory of unit 7. Okay, this is the 32nd video for CBSE Standard 10 Science and first part of chapter 7, Control and Coordination. I hope you have enjoyed it. Okay, if you have any doubt, any question or any query or any suggestion, you can comment in the comment section. Okay, and every comment is cordially welcome and will be answered back, will be replied back. Fine. In our next video, we will study section 7.1.1, that is what happens in reflex actions, and a lot of other things we will try to understand. Okay, at least I will try to finish section 7.1.1 and section 7.1.2, that is about human brain. Fine. So till next video, take care of yourself. Bye bye.